But the existing other addictions are, di ba, Bernard? There are a lot, no? Like for example, there's the gambling addiction, the internet addiction, and then the cyberbullying, which goes with it. A lot of factors, and I believe that Bernard can give us also some of uh, what are existing right now in our rehab center.
Yes. Right now, we are specializing in treating so many types of addiction. Um, Not to mention, of course, the most popular ones, the drug addiction. The drug addiction itself has a lot of different types of it. Uh, then there's this alcoholism that's really popular here in the Philippines because of the culture itself. And of course, gambling during the pandemic has risen in a very
Really increased.
dramatic number. And then because of technology and the new trend, like what you were mentioning earlier, the gaming addiction, WHO has finally announced the newest type of addiction, which is gaming, that really affects a lot of the young people, the young
The
generation.
youth.
And it has really created a big impact in all these people's lives. Not to mention all types of behaviors. And of course, there are sex addiction, food. There's so many types.
Exercise addiction is also one.
That's awesome.
Yes, coffee addiction. So right now, actually, we can see Sylvia.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Leader's Edge. My name is Sylvia Goloyogu, and I'll be your host today. Joining us to talk about how to overcome drug addiction is one very famous face in Philippine television because she is a favorite resource person who talks about wellness, mental wellness, and she also comments about trending news and issues. She is the go-to person by media. And we are so happy to have her today to join us. She is a psychiatrist at the St. Luke's Medical Center and a member of the Philippine Psychiatric Association. Ladies and gentlemen, join us on the virtual stage, Dr. Bernadette Babes Asenas. And with Dr. Babes is the executive director. The executive director of the Bridges of Hope. She will introduce him in a better way. Director Bernard. Dr. Babes, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Sylvia. Good day to you. And I'm so happy and honored to be here. Actually, I love the topic that we're going to discuss. And with me right now is one of my best friends. And Bernard will also help us going through the journey of how this topic would be very, very vital for everyone.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Miss Sylvia. Thank you for having us. No, thank you, Dr. Arsena, for letting me join you and to be a part of this wonderful advocacy that we're doing to spread out education regarding addiction and different types of it. My name is Bernard Manuel. I am the executive director of Bridges of Hope Batangas and Bridges of Hope Cebu. And I am very much honored to be your guest speaker today. I really appreciate it.
And to add to that, Bernard is a very good leader. You just imagine going through Manila and Cebu just to check on the rehabilitation center. We just have hope is actually we have a lot of branches. And the two of them, it's our boss. The man here beside me who is, breezing through everything. So I'm so proud of him.
Thank you.
We are so fortunate to have both of you in our program. And let us make this program something which I personally, I would like to hear something that is very relevant and practical for everyone who has a loved one, whether it is a family member or a friend, who is a drug dependent and who wants to overcome it. So I've been to prepare for this. I've been listening to your past interviews, and I've been doing a little research, and I said Doc Babes is really the best person to talk about it. I mean,
Salamat
coming
po.
out of the pandemic, we have seen so many mental concerns or issues that are now becoming more apparent. And I'd like to start off by asking, I know that there are certain uh, misconceptions about drug
Mm,
addiction, or
yeah.
maybe those old school thoughts or theories that we would like to verify if the same still holds true, or do we have new research or evidence that will allow us to take a better look or a new look at drug addiction? Is there
Okay.
anything new?
Actually, Sylvia, we can say that the changing times are actually one of the stressors and the triggers in the use of, you know, having any substances. But, the existing other addictions are, di ba, Bernard, there are a lot, no? Like, for example, there's the gambling addiction, the internet addiction, and then the cyberbullying, which goes with it. A lot of factors, and I believe that Bernard can give us also some of uh, what are existing right now in our rehab center.
Yes. Right now, we are specializing in treating so many types of addiction. Um, Not to mention, of course, the most popular ones, the drug addiction. The drug addiction itself has a lot of different types of it. Uh, then there's this alcoholism that's really popular here in the Philippines because of the culture itself. And of course, gambling during the pandemic has
Yes,
risen in a very
really increased.
dramatic number. And then because of technology and the new trend, like what you were mentioning earlier, the gaming addiction, WHO has finally announced the newest type of addiction, which is gaming, that really affects a lot of the young people, the young
The
generation.
youth.
And it has really created a big impact in all these people's lives. Not to mention all types of behaviors. And
Mhm.
of course, there are sex addiction, food. There's so many types.
Exercise addiction is also one.
That's awesome.
Yes,
Yes.
coffee addiction. So right now, actually, we can
Coffee.
see, Sylvia, that it just boils down to one thing:
Mhm.
the physical, psychological dependence on substances are still there. So we just going back to the old, as you've said, no, medical knowledge about what addiction is. What is really addiction? It's something. It's a form of act wherein you do something to yourself and trying to destroy. Okay, there are some biological factors that attach to it. Okay, just a little bit through with the medical. Um, the increase of the dopamine levels, the neurotransmitters, makes you aggressive, like Incredible Hulk, diba? You kind of become more aggressive. Secondly, there are a lot of factors like the reward system in our body and in our brain, wherein if it is pleasurable, you try to seek for it. It's like a siren. When you are at the peak of the addiction, it's really very noisy. But when you overcome it and you undergo rehabilitation, it's silent, it's still there. The difficulty of trying to have the urge to stop it is really there. And at times it goes out because of stressors and triggers. But Sylvia, there are a lot of addictions na propping up right now because of the pandemic. And I've seen that we have a lot of gaming addiction and the e-casino, we have that. The the e-bingo and the e-sabong before, which is a non-existent now, hopefully. Yeah, so it really goes on, Sylvia. And that's why I've said it is really overwhelming at times, but it's still there.
So is the new trend, these new addictions, is this what you mentioned, like e-gaming? Is this something specific to the Philippines, or is this something that is observed worldwide?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, in abroad, they were able to go out already of the pandemic. So I can say that our statistical data goes here just in our country. But then I can also see a lot of trending also for gambling addiction. It's really high, especially with other countries. But then since the pandemic in other countries, we're able to, the effect is lessened because of the aggressive medical attention that they gave. So I think here I can just say that here in the Philippines is really arising.
So
To add on to that, if I have lived in the US for quite a while. When I was there, I've also observed um, people were really getting hooked in a lot of online gambling. Sports betting is one of the biggest
Oh,
things.
we forgot that sports betting.
In the US, I have a lot of friends that it's the technology over there is so advanced that
Mhm.
they could just gamble anytime they want, and then um, uh, the number of cases going up where people would just get out of control, like what Dr.
Yeah.
Arsena was saying earlier, that when it gets to the peak, incredible hope comes, and there's no stopping that person. So I could attest to it, where I've seen um, the other part of the world where
Yeah.
they're also getting hooked into this, like what Dr. Arsena mentioned earlier. They're just getting so much better treatment over there
Yeah.
compared to what we
Right
have over
here.
here in the Philippines. And hopefully that helps.
Sylvia, when it comes to sports betting, we have seen really patients losing about 1 million or more just for that. You just imagine you and with the e-casino, oh my gosh, also 100,000 or more. So it's really very damaging, Sylvia. So it comes in different forms, but it boils down to one. It's dependence and addiction.
so so there is really a misnomer about going into rehab, because a lot of, for common people, if they say, okay, I'm going to go into rehab, normally they just think of two kinds of addiction, that's alcoholism and drug addiction.
Yeah.
So now that there are so many other forms of addiction, do how do we encourage our loved ones to seek professional help? I'm sure counseling, seeing a professional will just
Yes.
the first step, but do you foresee your bridges of hope opening its doors to e-gaming and pornography and all kinds of addiction, like maybe just a weekender instead of a long stint?
Okay. I'll go first, then Bernard will expand more. Um, what you were saying about pornography, or it's already happening here. We are already treating patients. Okay. We make sure that we are having also our education by going into symposiums, and we have studies for that. But honestly, Sylvia, if you take a look at it, it's not only alcoholism and substance. It's more evolving, like e-games. We have patients here as young as 16 years old. Imagine, Sylvia. Yeah, but what I wanted to drive at, and uh, Bernard will be doing the other stuffs, is that it's not only the addiction that we are treating. Okay, it's a family thing, no? There are also and based on studies, statistical data in psychiatry, that it's not only just being a drug addict, okay? It's not only being a drug dependent. Some patients of ours, that's why they're difficult to treat. They have anxiety, they have depression, and that's a good topic next time, perhaps, because it's really long. And that there are some patients that have also personality disorders. Mind you, if the patient is an alcoholic and has, antisocial personality disorder, it would take time for them to really have this insight that they're ill. Okay? So it's a family thing. You need to say, you look back at how they were, how they transform. Why is it that they are more prone to addiction rather than other people wherein alcohol is just there and you don't get addicted to it? So there are some psychodynamic things that are happening in the family that makes one dependent, go out and seek. At times they seek for love, they seek for care, they seek for belongingness. And, some of them may have low self-esteem, sobrang baba, no? And then there are some who would lose their parent at a young age, and some may have some abuses during their childhood. So you see, Sylvia, it's a multi-array of disciplines that goes around it. And Bernard will tell you what we are treating here.
To add on, thank you, Dr. Arsen, for really jotting down all the details on what we do. For a very good question from Ms. Sylvia. Yes, we do now are treating different types of addiction here in Bridges of Hope. So it's not necessarily just drugs, not necessarily just alcohol or gaming. In reality, just to share it with everyone, I am a recovering drug addict. I am a recovering alcoholic. I am a product of Bridges of Hope. It has ruined my life many times, and finally, I was able to be saved by my mom and my sister. Brought me to Bridges of Hope, and from that point on, um, I was I was born and
Lifted
raised
up.
again. Put me back into where I should be, thousand folds even better. It is because of how Bridges of Hope does things. This became my advocacy because I really believed in the program, because the program really changed my life. It has turned me 180 degrees without even hesitating. It's because of in Bridges of Hope, like what Dr. Arsena was saying earlier, it's not just the addiction that's being fixed. It's the whole me.
It's more than that.
It's my personality, my values, my morals. It's really changing my thinking pattern. It's identifying my triggers, identifying how I got there. So it's really more than just the abstinence of drugs or the abstinence of any types of vices. It's really more into it. Just identifying, getting to know who I really am matters the most, and that's pretty much the bread and butter of Bridges of Hope, where we would be able to understand why it takes us, to that dark side of the world, that dark side of us actually, and we kind of start from there. So once we start going through the mechanics of how to stay sober, we have to understand who we are. Once we do, it's easier for us to accept. It's easier for us to understand, and then the change will take place. That's pretty much that three-step process before the actual change begins.
It's difficult, Sylvia, I think, for Bernard, just like with anybody else. Nobody's perfect, right? So I think Sylvia, and that's why I brought him with me because initially I saw him just observing me how I treat my patients, and then he came to me and he told me, Doctor, can we create the Batangas Bridges of Hope? And I was, oh really? Can I? It's so malayo, it's so far, but here we are, and plus one, so Cebu and Batangas are under scare, and mind you, he's tough. Yes.
Dream come true for Bernadette.
Yes, we believe in hope. We believe in a dream. And we believe also that you can rise up again despite the addiction.
Living proof.
Living proof.
Exactly. And you're the best person to talk about it because you've gone through the process.
Exactly.
He went through deep there. So he dived through nose deep.
Rock bottom.
Rock bottom. He lost a lot, but he gained more now.
When you hit rock bottom, there's no other way but up.
Not up.
Yes.
Right?
Right. So we wanted to give hope to everyone that despite the rocky roads that we have, be it in addiction, be it in anxiety, be it in depression, hey, you can do it. Take it from him.
And having said that, it is not just like a single treatment, it is a multidisciplinary approach. So
Yes.
it is not something that it can be different for different people. It can
Yeah.
be a long program, or it can be longer than the standard program, or it can be shorter depending on the person. And I think
Yes.
That's right.
that that gives hope for many people who have a. I think there's a certain, it's a cultural thing. There is a certain shame that comes with having a family
Stigma.
member who is a dependent. But I said it doesn't stop there. If the family will not rally behind the dependent
Yeah.
and bring him to a place where he can get better, then I think that's the end of hope. If the family or the network
Mhm.
around him
Yes.
will not really rally to bring him to a better place. Because
Actually,
there's
Sylvia, the plus points here is when the family is very supportive. The patient will really have a very good support and have a very good prognosis, no, when it comes to their problems and issues. Remember, it's still going back to the family. When the patient, are treated in our facility, we let them go back to their families. Of course, also with the proper care, post care we're in, we also see them, but on outside basis already. That's why I wanted to lessen the stigma that when a patient is already, a rehabilitated patient, there's no hope. Hello, we are living proof that as long as hope exists, as long as there are people who believe in that person, everything and anything is possible.
Yes.
so just to add on to that, I'm now curious because you mentioned that after the treatment, there is hope that he can go back to and be integrated into the normal community. Is there like a post program or activity that Bridges of Hope normally offer or maybe assist them with in terms of getting them back into, for example, regular employment? Because there are people who are stigmatized there. It's just like those who were convicted,
Or
when
in
you,
jail.
yes,
Yeah.
they have a problem being integrated into the normal community because people will say, "Oh, let's not hire him because that." And
Yes.
that
Agree.
really pains me because if I am excited to go back and then there's
Mm,
no one to see my potential beyond my past, then it can trigger something, and it can um lead them back to a dark place. So I was wondering, because there are certain countries where the government actually supports people from rehab to getting into normal employment by offering companies a
yes.
subsidy. They tell companies that, okay, I will answer 50% of this person's salary. You just hire him. There are countries na ganon, like Portugal. And I think it's so noble because that is really bridging so that they will no longer desire to
Mm-mm.
go back to where they were from, and they are, the research shows that they're really happy, and the numbers are really reflect na it works. The
Yeah.
bridging really works.
Yes, Sylvia. Can I answer?
Sure.
Our program here in Bridges of Hope, I'm really proud to say that that's one of the things that we're highlighted on. Our support system is probably one of the top notch. And that's the reason why we have 10 branches, going 15 branches next year. We're like the biggest uh, rehabilitation company in the
It's
Philippines.
exploding.
It is. For the reason being is because the success rate is really high.
Hi.
Okay. Going back and mentioning like how the families are, it's really about being on the same page. And that's why we get the family so much involved in our program. That's number one. If the family is not in the same page with us, more than likely the success rate percentage drops down drastically. Because, like what Dr. Arsena was saying earlier, eventually I'm gonna have to give you back to your family. Okay, this is not a jail. This is not lifetime imprisonment or punishment. This is actually a training ground where we teach you how to live responsibly and properly in the real world. Okay? And this is what it is. We have to stop the stigma that if you enter this facility, you're cuckoo, you're nuts, you're out of it. No, it's not. This is just really pretty much straightening you up, getting abstinence from drugs, clearing your thoughts, teaching you how to deal with it on a daily basis. Now, when it comes to the support, when we give back the our we call them residents, we give them back to the families. When you finish Bridges of Hope program, we are actually one of the few facilities that offers free lifetime aftercare support.
Free lifetime support.
Okay.
And you finish the program.
Amazing.
Yes.
We're actually the second family of that person.
Mm.
Oh, that's so fantastic to hear.
Yes, we
Because
monitor them. They report here from time to time. They become counselors just to sustain the sobriety, to remind us, like me, this is the reason why I did this. This is the reason why I made this my advocacy. Why? I'm an addict. I'm a recovering addict. I have to keep reminding myself what life can be if I don't take care of my sobriety, if I don't put emphasis on the disease of addiction. Uh, when I counsel, when I do these talks, I'm reminding myself, it's like, hey, you know, there's you have a disorder. Okay? And this is the only way to remind it. Because sometimes you'll forget. When you do things right, when you start living the responsible life and everything all of a sudden becomes beautiful. And then you become complacent. And then next thing you know, you'd probably consider, maybe taking another shot or maybe drink a beer. No, we can't do that. every time that you're,
Cannot do that.
yeah, we're recovering, I'm recovering. Any thoughts of that, I know my addiction is coming up. So what do? I go straight to the facility. I communicate with my counselors. I talk to them about it. Okay? I counsel people, and then we help them get jobs as well. If they want to work for Bridges of Hope, the beauty of finishing a program in Bridges of Hope, we have so many branches. If you need a job, you can easily get
Yes.
one because everybody helps each other out.
Yeah.
It's a whole big family, like brothers and sisters, like
Yeah.
where you need a job. It's like, okay, come over here. Okay, as long as you you stay away, from the dirty life that you have before. We will do whatever it takes as long as you're willing and you're asking
Yeah.
for help and you want to be a part of this organization, this family, you're safe.
Yeah. Perfect. And Sylvia, we create leaders from them. Okay. We don't believe in failures. We believe in accepting the challenge to do what is right and to create meaning in your life. But Sylvia, on the other side, I wanted to also see you the other bleak side we're in. At times it's also difficult. Okay. It's not a better process for them. But the journey is easier because the support, no, the support of the facility and the Bridges of Hope is really pulsating. Sylvia, if people believe in you, there would be some instances wherein you might a little bit go down, but then, hey, other people will back you up. And that's the beauty of being in a rehabilitation center. We create hope, we create something that is the camaraderie is really so different. We're like family.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Sylvia, if I were our audience, hey, don't see patients rehabilitation center, no, as a prison. No, it's not prison. It is where you will find yourself again.
And when we talk about Bridges of Hope, you said that there are 15 branches,
10 branches as
10
we speak.
branches.
There's about 3 to 5 branches opening in
More.
2023.
In 2023.
Yes.
All over the Philippines.
Wow. I hope that you can share with
Yeah.
us like a slide or maybe a list of those branches. Oh no, I think you have a website where we could
Yes.
visit.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that later so that we could invite our viewers to check out Bridges of Hope and see what you offer and what amazing things you do for your residents and what they can look forward to if they have, for example, if I have a loved one, it doesn't, it gives me comfort to know that there is a facility that
Yeah.
can treat any kind of addiction. Because I think the old school thinking is it is what you said, it is a prison, it is
Mm-mm.
it's like an enclosure where
Yeah.
there's growth but there's just treatment. It's very heartening to know that in your facility there is not only um healing, but there is a social healing that happens because
Yes.
after you healed physically, you connect, you create relationships, you build relationships that will last you a lifetime. I am so
Yeah.
happy with the free lifetime um after treatment benefits of your residents.
Yes.
I think you're the only facility that offers that. Can I
Yeah.
say
So
that?
for example, Sylvia, like for me, you know, if when Dr. Sena gets more into the addiction, maybe maybe in the next or future episodes that you guys have, it's very complicated. it's really a lot of details, a lot of it's very it's a
It's hard
meticulous
work, actually.
it's a meticulous process. Yes. But for example, myself, my addiction can trigger me anytime. For example, just driving around, and then you would see a place where you probably used to get
Go
drugs.
there.
You know, it could trigger you. You know? So once that triggers me, Bridges of Hope has pretty much programmed me that when I start feeling like that, I have to be aware to myself that that is a very dangerous situation for me. So the beauty of Bridges of Hope, since it's scattered all over the Philippines, anywhere I
Can go
go,
anywhere.
I have
Ah,
access to
amazing. It's
Bridges of Hope
you can
any
walk into
given
any
day.
facility wherever
Yes.
you feel the need.
Yeah.
Ah,
It's like you go to SM and
yeah.
shop.
It's just like one of
Yes.
those gyms that are available in
Yeah.
any
Go to
city,
any
so you can
gym.
use. It's a membership. You can enter any brand
24 hours, LA
24
Fitness.
hours. Oh,
Yes. Amazing, right, Sales? And
amazing. Please, viewers,
you know,
addiction
when
is
your
not.
heart, Sylvia, when your heart is in what you're doing, if you wanted to heal broken lives, you wanted to heal broken families, that's the biggest advocacy of them all. And I think, why? Because the leaders that we have are the ones who have been through that. They've been through thick and thin. They've been, they've been in problems with the law and everything. But look at them now. So proud of them. Okay, so there's hope.
They just need to be committed to the program.
Perfect.
They just need to make a commitment to finish the program. I think that is something that they need to be reminded about.
Yes.
Because I have a very good friend whose brothers, he comes from a family of three. They are three brothers. He is the only one who's sober, but he always brought them for counseling. He always, because he's the
Mhm.
eldest and he is the head of the family. They were orphaned early on in life. He always brought them to a place where they can get counseling, where they could get treatment, but they always forgot that they had to finish.
Yeah.
And then it was like a vicious cycle. And then my heart goes out to them because they're good people. They're really good people. They are kind. It is just a situation that they were dragged into and they couldn't find a way out. And then I told him, um, more than anything else, you have to get them to commit to finish the program. Wag mo na sila magtrabaho. Don't get hired. Don't apply for a job yet. You get treated first so that at
Yes.
least you don't have an excuse that, oh, I need to go to work. I need to finish my responsibilities. It's a sacrifice for the family, for their families, but it is a commitment that comes with the sacrifice. So I will tell them about he's very frustrated, but
Mhm.
I think when he sees what your program design looks like, he will realize that this is better than what they previously went through. So I'm glad that we have this opportunity to talk about the center and what you do, because this, I think this is really tailor fit for the Filipinos, because
Yes.
you
Yes.
know exactly what the family needs
Mm-mm.
and how family members need that kind of support, and the resident themselves, what kind of behavior they, because, well, Bernard, you've been there, you know exactly, you're like a research, you're the research You're case number one, so to speak. And we know exactly what we need because of you.
That's success number one too.
I never knew that this was going to be my calling. I never knew that this was something that would help so many people.
Yeah.
I had no idea. All I did was I just focused on myself. I had to keep working on fixing myself on a daily basis, every minute, every hour, every second of the day. I never knew that this was going to create an impact to so many people's lives. When I saw that, I started loving what I do. Now it's not work anymore. Now it's more of a passion. Now it's more,
Advocacy.
yeah, it's more of an advocacy. Yeah, all of that combined together. The tailored fit that you were saying, yes, I know
do
you
that.
guys have uh, a lot of viewers all over the world. I'm not saying that uh, this program would work on anyone. Okay, but you were actually right. It's tailored fit for the Filipino culture. Most of the time, the Western culture, from the Western civilization, of course, it's very different from us. That's why there's a lot of different types of approach. But rest assured, with Bridges of Hope, it's a tailored fit program to each individual person. So my program will never be the same as another one because we are two different people. That's why when you said tailored fit, it actually says it all.
And since Filipinos work all over the world, I think this program, the Leader's Edge, provides their employers, their future employers, people who have Filipinos who are multi-generational as part of their workforce. I know that there are concerns about addiction, and because there are so many kinds of addiction now, the explanation that you offer about how to overcome it, how to better treat addiction, provides our viewers, whether they're Filipinos or non-Filipinos, and a bird's eye view or a better appreciation, I think, a better appreciation of how they can better approach their Filipino workers. Because they know that the family, the social connection, the family connection is something I think which is radically different from the approach of, for example, the Americans and the British, because they're more on treatment. Ours, it's more it's a multifaceted treatment, and it allows them to better understand us as a culture. And um does Bridges of Hope have anything online like counseling for tailor for Filipinos who have that concern but are not physically here? Is there like a Bridges of Hope web version, online version where they could receive counseling?
Well, currently, we don't have that option as of yet, Sylvia. It's really more on uh, it's a more hands-on type of treatment. Uh, that's where we really focus on. But we do have hotlines that you can call just in case you need someone to talk to or need help. Not saying it's the treatment that you would get, but at least you have someone to talk to at
A
any
live
given.
person that you can talk to.
Yes, and there's a lot of hotlines, different types of branches. Just check the website, you'll find it.
So Bernard, for example, if I have a brother, or if have as if my father needs counseling, since I'm in the Philippines, I can give your hotline and they can call you directly so that this they can have somebody to talk. Is that right?
Yeah.
And the hotline numbers are normally the people who are in charge of the facilities. Like the hotline numbers for Lipa and Cebu are actually my numbers.
Ah, okay. Wow. That puts
So,
a
you
lot.
know, Sylvia, you were saying about, I think, the online treatment, perhaps with the Bridges of Hope. Well, that's a good idea. And don't worry, we'll try to work it out and see what we can do with those who are seeking help online. But yeah, you do have a point there. I was trying to, to say, oh, that's a good suggestion. But for now, what you do is each branches, they have their own hotlines wherein you can, call. And there we go. We can communicate with them and talk about your issues. Okay.
Fantastic. Is there anything else? There are so many things that are going on with you, Doctora and Bernard. I mean, you're opening 3 to 5 branches in 2023. What else keeps you busy aside from saving
Wow.
lives and making these
Now
facilities available?
for me, because my advocacy ever since is to let the media be aware that mental health is really precious. And for me, anxiety, depression, substance disorders are treatable and manageable. So for me, I wanted to give hope to everyone that if you seek help at the early stage of your condition, there's a big chances that you can recover. Remember, it doesn't mean that when you are treated by psychiatrists that you are really down there. No. That means to say you take care of your mental health. And that's the most important thing of all. If you wanted to go back to who you were before, then acknowledge that there is something wrong there. And hey, you can go up and move up to the ladder again. There is hope, Sylvia.
You. How about you, Bernard? Any
Oh,
last words that we need?
Penny!
There's so many lessons that I just appreciate the time that you're giving us. There's so many lessons, so many insights that I'm learning
same.
just.
Oh, we can go all day when it comes to lessons. But
Yes.
my end, I guess, you know, it it always starts with how firm the family will be. And I could have the strongest determination when it comes to making my life better. But if, like what you were saying earlier, Sylvia, it's when the family, doesn't have the push to it and doesn't really care about it, or believes something different, or they're in denial of what reality really
Yeah.
is, it really makes it hard for a person like me who wants to recover. Okay. So it's really more of getting educated, get out of that box, that old school, like you were saying earlier, the old school type of mentality when it comes to mental health, when it comes to different types of addiction. You have to listen. There's science behind it now. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, there were no science. There were no facts behind of how addiction is. Now there is. There are even diagrams and pictures showing what kind of damage it does to your brain. But there's so many facts and details, and it's just out there. All they have to do is learn it, get educated. It's not rare anymore. It's really common. It's the epidemic of the world. Maybe not just addiction, maybe depression,
Anxiety.
anxiety, even people who suffers from bipolar or different types. Be open to it. It's out there. It's really happening to people. The fact that you deny it, it makes it worse, 1,000 times worse. So for me, my parting words with you, the things that I'm going to share, the most important thing is get educated, learn, and accept. That's the only way you'd be able to really conquer this and solve it. But if you refuse and just shut your ears and eyes closed, the help is not going to get there. Yun lang.
I have a question.
Sure.
What about interventions?
Hmm.
There are cases where the resident or the patient himself is not yet at that stage when they are aware, or maybe they have accepted that there is a problem that needs to be treated. How can their loved ones, family members, or partners um, help them bring their loved ones to that space
Acceptance state.
where they will be open to counseling, to
All
go
right.
to bridges of hope. How if you're going to talk to the family members or their loved ones, what can they do for their loved ones?
Sylvia, there is no family that have the same dynamics.
Mm.
So with regards to acceptance, it's also on different levels. It is better for us to know the family first. So our facilitators, they talk with the family members and see the extent of their acceptance also. While we also check on the insight of our patients, we as the psychiatrist here. And if we kind of have this, communications wherein they would be catering to the family, I'd be catering to the patient, and then we see the level of insight that they have. So there are times wherein the patient's family may be into denial, so they have to work hard on it. Okay, so as I've said, it's tailor fit, and we see to it that we handle. It's kind of a difficult job, Sylvia. It's just you're trying to fix an old car and have to have change oil and everything. That's very difficult, Sylvia. But there's happiness when we see our patients, growing. It takes time. That's why they stay in the facility for many months, because the acceptance is really kind of hard. We deal with the family members and see how they accept things. At times, there would be denial of both the family and the patient. There would be some patients having anxiety and depression. Others may have personality disorders. And mind you, it's not very easy. They will really do things, no? Awful things, no? For them to be at the center of attention of everyone. So you see, these are patients who are not acceptable in the society, but we embrace them and we hug them with all their scars,
Yeah.
with all their wounds. But of course, I told them we also have to take care of ourselves. So, Sylvia, it's a matter of reconnecting, it's a matter of accepting, it's a matter of not changing the old tires, but changing the new tires, na? and when you see the effect, when you see how they themselves become leaders, I'm so proud of them. So I think, as I've said, no, it is very different from everyone. But mind you, we try our very best to be explorative. We become adventurous also in how we treat patients, and kind of aggressive when we see that they needed our help.
Thank you very much. I think our viewers now have a better appreciation of the need to be more aware about our mental state, because as you said, there are times when even the patient is not aware that they are suffering from depression, anxiety, which can lead to or be symptoms
Yeah.
of something else. And I'm glad that we were able to spend this time to talk about it. It is actually the time is limited. I wanted to ask so many other questions, but as Bernard said, we can have a separate interview, another topic that will dive into the details so that people can really understand it more. And I think that whenever we do these interviews and we shed light on the the issues that we're talking about, and put the Filipino culture as a spotlight, it helps our viewers better understand us as a people. Because
Yeah.
whenever we do research, whenever we go online, we type, we Google it, we go to YouTube, we try to find resources. And most of the resources available don't talk about um, social issues based on the local culture. So I'm glad that you're here with us to be able to share that kind of perspective to our global viewers. Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you also.
Thank you also, Sylvia, and Merry Christmas to you and a Happy New Year.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is hope. It doesn't have to be Christmas for us to feel hopeful. Thank you very much. And before we end, if you liked our program today, please click the like, subscribe, and share buttons. And then we're going to have future interviews with Dr. Babes and with Director Bernard. Just watch out for them. We're going to invite them back because there's so many other topics that are exciting to talk about. In the meantime, in our next episode, we're going to talk about servant leadership in the workplace. We're going to have Mr. Jason Weber as our guest. So, before we end, always remember, learning is a never-ending journey with limitless vistas. Good day, everyone.